Okay, so we're going to try and get the mid-tones of this cloud, because these clouds are annoying me a little bit in the sense of nothing wrong with the colours. It's just they're looking a bit bitty because they don't have that in-between colour yet, that smoothness. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do now. Back to the palette. Alright, so notice we've got the darkest colour there, but we don't have the intensity in the centre. We've got too many greys going on. So we're going to add the blue and the pink together like that and create quite an intense purple. When I say intense, I just mean saturated. Just a strong colour. And I'm just going to use a bit of that previous grey we used. Again, you can use bits of old colours if you feel it's need. You stay away from the actual bottled colour as much as you can, because then you're not wasting paint. And yeah, we're just going to add a bit more magenta, white, blue. This is quite a good colour, good purple to use. Let's see what it looks like now. Might not get it right all the time, but in this case we have, because I think because it's a strong purple, but it's complementing everything else, because it works as a shadow on the cloud, that bottom colour on the cloud, and it works in between the darkest tone and those lightest tones. Now we'll probably add another colour in between that light one, pink, and this purple we're adding now, but this purple is going to dominate a lot of that cloud like that. I'm going to scumble across down to the bottom there. I think that works really well. So again, it's amazing how many colours you can create with just, well, 2 colours and then white and black, because that's all we've used to create all these different colours, these different purples and things. And that same colour is going to come over here. Again, notice I'm scumbling, going across those lines, using quite a big brush here. But swap to a smaller filbert brush. That was a large filbert. And then that's going to come across diagonally. And I'm just going over all those areas where I can see that darker kind of greyish blue there. I'm using this purple as a substitute for that. Again, that purple isn't really seen anywhere else, maybe a little bit over here in between. That just gives so much more personality to the image. I'm going back to my big brush, and yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just scumble a little bit more over to that darker tone, right down to the bottom there. Then leave it. Now we're going to create this mid-tone, so just add white to that original colour now, and a bit more pink. I think that's all you'll need. And you've got the surrounding blues to help dull it down a little bit. Again, you can go in like that, and then you've got a lovely colour, just a bridge in between. That same colour These are looking a little bit isolated over here, so we're going to get a darker pinky colour just below it, getting those bumpy bits going over here, down below, so it gives them more presence. Same here as well. You know. And another reason I scumble, obviously, and I'm brushing like this, is just to give that blue some presence still in the sky, that original ground colour we used. Using that, let's come down there as well. Going a bit darker again to that bit, to the distance there. Now you can create as many mid-tones as you want. I mean, I can go maybe a little bit darker and go in between here again. Go into that original purple there, get some more magenta. Depends how maybe realistic you want it again. But I think the good amount of colours are there now. I think we'll leave it like that. Now I'll probably just start on the sand. Alright, and the last tones on the sand. Now, I said about this earlier about the sand, it's more grey. Okay, so there's more grey in the sand. It's not as saturated as the rest of the image, the parts of the image. So I'm going to go black and white there. More magenta. I'm going to get some more magenta now. And lots of white. It's a dull image, but it's not particularly really dark, so you want to stay quite light still. And this colour I'm going to use here is going to be used for that ruffled bit of the sand at the top. And it's still quite light, you know. It's not a dark colour at all. It's, when you squint your eyes, it's, you know, sort of yellowy colour coming down there. It's reasonably light. So again, look what we've got here. We've got like a bright dull colour, and that's what you want. So that's the black doing that. So if I go in here, now you can see now what we're doing. That colour coming across down there. It's perfect. And again, you got those ripples. You go in later stage, and those darker detailed lines. And that lighter tone just works on that sand, just creeps in there on the water. Maybe another line there. Okay, and that's distinguished from those more pungent colours on the water itself. Okay, and now we're going to get a bit darker now. We've got the ruffleness of the sand. I think I had a little bit of a darker tone before. But what we can do is just start getting some of those scrapes, and you see those little trails on the sand surface. They're obviously made by crabs and things like that. To get the texture of the sand. Now, you can use sponges and things for different, you know, textures. Of course, be my guest. You know, for the clouds as well, so traditional, and trees as well, to use sponges. I'm not really a big fan of sponges, but you can use them to get more of a smoother effect. Just dull that down a little bit. Gone off on a tangent. I've just gone up here because that was looking a bit repetitive, that up there. I don't like repetitive marks. So I'm just going to scribble that out and then. Okay, I'll leave it. So we're going to go back to the sand here. So keep to that tone here, that lighter tone. If you feel, you can use the same colour. I don't like using the exact same colour too much, so I'm going to add a bit of blue, a bit of grey, a bit of black, sorry. But it still remained reasonably bright as a purpley colour. I'm just going to get some of those squiggly lines on the sand there. I don't know how detailed you want this, but we're not going to do too much detail. We're just going to keep some squiggly lines and generally keep that darker tone on the sand there. So you sort of scumbling effects, and then we're going to go back to the darker tone. Getting the black, the pink, the blue. And see how dark that is now. Add a bit more white, pink. Again, just picking out some of those lighter areas, working in between some of those trails we've just put in there. You go right down to the bottom of the composition, get rid of some of that blue there, it's still on the. That's it, so it's looking a little bit more like sand, more bumpy. And you've got that distinguishing line of the sea there, which is really important to get. And then the last thing is we get some thinner lines where the shore comes in there, and that's going to be a quite dark colour, so a bit of black, a bit more magenta, a bit of blue, and it's going to be reasonably strong because we really want it to pop out. So we got like more of a stronger purple there, maybe go a little bit darker, more intense. And just thin out your brush, and you want to go into those darkest areas on the. I add a bit more pink actually, because it's leaning more to pink than blue, so add a bit more pink into that purple so it doesn't stand out, it doesn't look too odd. And a good amount of black as well, just to dull it a little bit more. So it's working nicely with those other greys, and then we can just trail down like that on the top line, and then go in between there and here as well. So notice my arm dragging, so I'm making it easier for me just to drag that way rather than pushing this way. going to make some lines a bit thinner than others. Like this one's a bit thinner. That one's a bit thicker down there. And then get some more of those colours coming into the water there. Maybe make a little bit of more of those magenta colours coming into the water, so that follows in, go into that shadow, and then that can actually filter, go straight through to that original shadow, which we are making more intense with more pinks in general, the composition. So we want to apply maybe some more pinks down there as we come into the shadow on the water. So notice each time adding more pink, more magenta, more blue, and then coming in here. That's just going to work alongside that original blue there. Like that. And then everything's relating a lot more. So I'm keeping an eye on the whole kind of structure of the composition and everything. And yeah, I'm just trying to balance it now. So I think we've got a good amount of pink everywhere. Even the darkest areas, there's lots of those magentas popping through. The blue is still unanimous all the way through the composition. Yeah, I think so. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start working a bit more on this, and then I'll update you in maybe the final stages of the video, of the tutorial. And again, it's just touch-ups, I think, getting the last highlights in, maybe on the walkway, more on the rocks, maybe on the water, the closest edge of the water here, maybe there's some of those effects, and maybe some of those areas in the tree as well. And of course putting in those foreground areas of the lamppost and the trees again, structuring the bench, those last bits. Okay.